If you like this album ahead of their time, I recommend you check out Road Tapes Venue 1. I say Venue 2 in this video you're about to watch. It's Venue 1. That is a complete live 68 show. That is better than this one. Just saying before you jump into this. If you like Ahead of Their Time or want to check it out and enjoy it, go check out Road Tapes Venue 1. That is really, 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 really good. All right. Hello, I'm Shaggy, the opinionated hippie. Welcome back to my channel. I am currently ranking and reviewing every single album Frank Zappa released while he was alive, and we are currently on number 47, Ahead of Their Time. This album probably should be closer to number 1, and I wouldn't blame people if it was. There are some really, 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 really good parts on this. However, there is roughly 44% of the album I don't ever listen to. So that's why it is here. It was released, one of the last things Frank ever released, the second to last album Frank ever released, came out in 93. And it's a complete show of the Mothers from 1968. That alone should be reason why it's like in the top 10. However, it is a one-time only performance of a play called Progress that Frank performed. This is in London. I think there were members of the Royal Symphony Orchestra, I think is who was on this. No, the BBC Symphony Orchestra. Didn't mean to knock that up so high. But the BBC Symphony Orchestra. So the play part of this has classical elements. It is structured very much like 200 Motels, even Gregory Peccary, not so much Billy the Mountain, as that is a lot more words. But it is, where you get like music and then little like acting out and people saying things and then more music and then kind of that back and forth. And so the first 10 tracks on this, the first roughly 28, 29 minutes of a 67-minute show is the play. And some of the musical parts are good. The prologue I think is pretty interesting. The epilogue I enjoy, and I'll tell you why later. There's a couple parts in the middle, but it doesn't make the little spoken parts in between that worthwhile. Historically, as it is a one-time only performance, cool. I'm glad it's out there. But it would have been awesome had they released like, a 10-disc set of Live Mothers, and this was one of the discs. Seems to like be more of like where it would make sense. But the play is essentially probably once again a real life situation. Members of the band want to play more straightforward jazz music, if not 4/4 music, as they say in here. That the good musicians, or the bad musicians, want to experiment and go out there and do other things. You have a part where Roy Estrada talks about how he feels inferior to the rest of the members of the band. He's holding the group back. Apparently that was real life. Apparently he would say that often. I think Bunk Gardner said that in an interview somewhere that, Roy, this is real life. Frank, again, is taking what happens in real life and turning it into entertainment for his enjoyment and for the enjoyment of others. Whatever you think of that, that's what Frank did. Also, Roy Estrada, don't look up what happened to him now. It does not turn out good. He's in prison for bad things. So yeah, that sucks. I always feel like anytime I talk about Roy, I kind of need to acknowledge that he ended up not being a good person, but whatever. Okay, sorry for bringing that up. I might just cut this, but then I might not. I didn't. But anyways, so the play part is maybe worth hearing once. Some of the tracks, this is what they are. Prologue, which is a pretty interesting start. You can hear sort of flavors of Little House I Used to Live In and Burnt Weenie Sandwich. And I think that if Prologue were to start off Burnt Weenie Sandwich, the album, it would fit in perfectly with that. Progress, which kind of explains the plot. You get Like It or Not, which is some more music, classical bent. The Jimmy Carl Black Philosophy Lesson, Holding the Group Back, where Roy complains. Holiday in Berlin, in which Roy operatically and then falsetto-y sings the melody to Holiday in Berlin. It's like 50 seconds long. The rejected Mexican Pope leaves the stage. Roy is the rejected Mexican Pope. Undaunted, the plan plays on. Agency Man, which would also, there's a studio version of that on the Mystery Disc, which Frank released, which was released after Frank's passing, a very common bootleg that was floating around for decades. This is not as good live version of that. And then epilogue, which, harkens back to the prologue and closes it out. But the best part about it is epilogue, right at the end of that, it goes straight into King Kong. And when that roll in sort of of King Kong comes in, it's like, it sounds good and it feels good. And from there, we're off, for the next 40 or so minutes until what is mostly an instrumental set list of Frank songs. So you get a pretty good King Kong, a decent King Kong, a couple pretty good solos in there, horn solos. That goes into Help I'm a Rock, only vocals on the whole thing. Frank kind of gives this one a short shrift. It's pretty short, and it starts to get kind of chaotic towards the end, but then Frank immediately jumps into Transylvania Boogie. This is a great song because it's not so much a guitar solo vehicle as it is the horns are playing that melody and all those changes, and so it really is like a composed piece, and it sounds pretty good, and I like it. That goes into A Pound for a Brown. This is one of those sort of monster songs that a lot of Frank's bands played, and one of those I think we need as many versions of this released as possible. I really enjoy this one. The song would have sort of the main theme, and then there's like this breakdown part, where kind of the drums go very minimalist and the horns just kind of play, kind of the melody is fragmented and all these different horn players are doing different things. And then you return back to the main theme. It was really neat to see how this part is composed and all of the different sort of permutations of Frank's bands. You get the 82 version and how Mars and Vi and Ed Mann sort of like directed that flavor. You got the Flo and Eddie versions, but you have all these different versions of bands doing this song. Tommy Mars and Baloo in 77, 78. But this was a very common song played in a lot of Frank's bands, and it's interesting to see how he would arrange these parts. The Zinni, Zappa New York shows, but we still, 2 versions have not been released. The Bongo Fury version, which I would love to hear, and then the 88 band live version. The 88 band Pound for a Brown songs were ridiculous. The song When Yuppies Go to Hell, the actual song of that is something called Desiccated, and then there's a bunch of improv. The improv is primarily from Pound for a Browns from that tour. The King Kong on Make a Jazz Noise Here, the second half of that is from A Pound for a Brown. The few moments with Brother A. West on The Best Band, that's from A Pound for a Brown. The Make a Sex Noise contest on You Can't Do That on Stage, Volume 6, that's from A Pound for a Brown. So Pound for a Brown had a lot of interesting things going on in 88. So that needs to be released in its entirety. But I'm saying this version is good. It's got some good solos, mainly a Frank solo, but it's a good listen. That goes into Sleeping in a Jar. Instrumental version. That goes into Let's Make the Water Turn Black, Harry, You're a Beast, the Orange County Lumber Truck, Oh No, and then back into the Orange County Lumber Truck where all the nice solos are, a nice 10+ minute version of that to close out, and these solos are pretty good. It's a really good ending to this show. In the liner notes, Frank called this a fine but not great performance of the Mothers. There are great moments in this, though I do maybe, other than the closing Orange County Lumber Truck, I don't think there are any tracks that you're like, dude, you need to hear this. Sit down and listen to this. I think it is kind of lacking that, but I enjoy it. I enjoy the epilogue on, which was, none of the stage stuff, none of the play stuff. It's just all instrumental other than the Help I'm a Rock stuff. So yeah, it was kind of, it would have been higher on the list had Road Tapes, the Road Tapes 68 show not been released. I think that's Venue 2. That show kind of is of such a better quality and such a better Mother's performance, also from 68. I think it kind of supersedes this in a lot of ways, and knocks this down. And plus, I couldn't rank this closer to 1, being that I don't ever listen to those first 9 tracks, ever. Just revisited them for this, just to see if they're better than I thought. But the spoken word interludes and the parts where people are acting and you can hear the audience laughing to stuff that is obviously visual because nothing I heard was worth laughing at, kind of just robs it of some of its joy. But I'm glad it's out there. I think it's good that we get it. So anyways, that's it. Ahead of their time. Frank Zappa, my number 47, did I say? I think I did. All right, check it out. Let me know what you think about it. Let me know if you enjoy it. Let me know why I'm wrong. or right. And take care, and we will see you later. Bye.